Hey guys, welcome back to my kitchen. If you are new, my name is Mel and I love to share cooking videos on this channel. Today we're actually going to be making some 5-ingredient or less recipes. Hopefully one of these recipes sticks out to you and you decide to try it out on your next meal plan. Or maybe you'll just get some inspiration from this video and decide to cook more at home for your family in general. Either way, let's go ahead and get started and I'll show you what I made. I do want to say I did not include pepper, olive oil, salt, or water in my ingredient count for any of these recipes just because these are things that most people already have. First up today, I'm making this Cajun Alfredo pasta, and let me tell you, minimal ingredients, but this meal is absolutely delicious. I started by opening up a package of smoked turkey sausage. You definitely do not have to use turkey sausage. I just prefer turkey over the regular kind. Pick whichever one you like and just slice those up. Over on the stove, I did get some water started. I'm gonna let that get to boiling and I'll add my pasta in later. On my front burner, I'm adding about a tablespoon of olive oil and then adding in my turkey sausage, and this is just going to brown up in here until it has some really good color on both sides. You will need to add 8 ounces of pasta. You can use any pasta you like. Today I was using this chickpea pasta. I actually like this pasta. The texture is a little bit different, but you can use regular pasta if you want to. Once my sausage is nicely brown, we're going to go ahead and leave it in this pan and add 2 cups of heavy whipping cream. You'll also add in 1 tablespoon of Cajun seasoning. And now I'm just going to get that mixed together and make sure you scrape the bottom of your pan to pick up all the flavor the sausage left behind on the bottom of the pan. You can let that simmer for about 5 to 10 minutes until your pasta is done. And right before you add your pasta in, you're going to add about 3/4 of a cup of grated Parmesan cheese. I did add that in very slow, that way I could make sure the cheese did not clump up in the sauce and that it all melted down evenly. Now I'm just adding in that pasta that I drained and getting that all mixed together really well. Let that cook on your stovetop for a few more minutes. Those noodles will help the sauce to really finish thickening up, and then it is ready to eat. I just added a little bit more Parmesan on top of mine and some parsley, but the parsley definitely is not necessary. I just put it on there mostly to add color for my video. But overall, with only 5 ingredients, this recipe is great. Up next, we're going to be making a 5-ingredient lasagna casserole. I did start by preheating my oven to 350 degrees. Over to my skillet, I'm adding 1 pound of ground turkey. I would recommend using ground beef for this recipe if you can, just because ground beef has a little bit more flavor in it. However, when I went to make this, I realized I forgot to buy ground beef, so I just used some ground turkey. And now I'm just adding in some salt and pepper to taste. You can always add more later. Next, I'm adding in about 8 to 10 ounces of pasta. I used a mixture of pastas that I had in my cabinet, so that's why there are a couple different varieties, but you can just use whatever pasta you like. Once my ground turkey is done, I'm adding in 1 jar of pasta sauce. Try to add in a pasta sauce that has really good flavor in it. That way your lasagna casserole has even more added flavor without any extra ingredients. Here is my pasta when it was all done. I did just go ahead and drain that, and now I'm adding in my pasta sauce with my ground turkey. I'm also adding in half a container of cottage cheese. If you do not like the texture of cottage cheese, you could also add ricotta, but I think the ricotta kind of gets lost in here, so that's why I like to use the cottage cheese more. And if you're new around here, I always list my ingredients and the measurements down below in the description box. You'll also want to make sure you add in 1 cup of freshly shredded mozzarella cheese in there, and then just go ahead and give this a quick mix together before we transfer it over to this 9x13 casserole dish. I did just go ahead and spray it down with some nonstick spray just to be safe. And then you'll just add the entire pot of pasta into your 9x13. Spread it around as evenly as you possibly can, and then we're going to top it off with some more cheese. I added about 1 more cup of cheese over the top, but add as much as you'd like. And I do want to mention that if you have extra ingredients in your house and you are able to use them, in the beginning you can add onion and garlic into your ground meat. That'll add a lot more flavor in there. And you can also add more spices such as Italian seasoning, red pepper flakes, or garlic powder too. But for the sake of this video, I kept it really simple with 5 ingredients or less. I went ahead and baked this for about 15 to 20 minutes until the cheese was nicely melted over the top. And again, I added parsley. That's mostly just for my video to add a little bit of contrast color with the green from the parsley. But if you do have some, go ahead and add it on top. It's a great finishing touch. This is what my pasta looked like when it was all done. Super easy to make this. And on the side, I made some good old leftover hamburger bun garlic bread. Now we're going to make these super easy, amazing 3 ingredient ribs. First thing you're going to want to do is my least favorite part about ribs is remove that membrane from the back. I played around with this for about 10 minutes before I actually got it off, so it can be a little difficult sometimes. Usually I'll have my husband do it for me, but he wasn't here. So make sure you remove that from the back. It'll help make your ribs a lot more tender. If you want to, you can cut these ribs in half to put in here and lay them flat, but for me personally, I just put the whole thing in there and bend it around just a little bit. It works perfectly fine. Now go ahead and cover these with your favorite barbecue sauce. I'm adding in about half a bottle of barbecue sauce to start, and then we'll add the rest later on. Next, I'm adding in 2 cans of Dr. Pepper. Soda acts as an amazing tenderizer when you make crock-pot ribs, so that's why we're using that Dr. Pepper. If you don't have Dr. Pepper, you can also use Coca-Cola. I went ahead and added my lid on here, and I cooked this on a low heat for about 8.5 hours. Halfway through, I did come in the kitchen and just flip them over. That way the other side could be down in that liquid as well. But now at this point, they are falling off the bone, so now we need to just transfer them over to a baking sheet. As you can see, they are falling off the bone right now, so very carefully, I'm just transferring this over to a foil-lined baking sheet. They did fall apart a little bit on the end. You can see the bone started coming out. I just tried to piece it back together, and now we're going to go ahead and cover this with even more barbecue sauce. On top of this, I added probably close to 1/3 of the bottle of barbecue sauce, and then just using a brush, you're going to want to make sure you cover the tops and the sides the best you can. These ribs went in the oven at 400 degrees for about 10 to 15 minutes until that barbecue sauce on the top turned into a really nice sticky glaze. If you don't care about having a glaze on top, then you can skip the oven, but trust me, this extra step makes them even better. As we picked these up off the tray, they were literally falling off the bone, which was amazing. They turned out so delicious and they were very flavorful for only adding 2 ingredients on them. And then I went ahead and made some Bob Evans macaroni and cheese on the side, making this entire meal only 4 ingredients. And of course, last but not least, we're making some ham and biscuit sandwiches. I went ahead and preheated my oven to 350 degrees according to my can of biscuits. I got those biscuits laid out on my sheet pan and I just stuck those in the oven to bake for about 13 minutes, and I was just following the directions again on the biscuit can. While those were baking in the oven, I did just go ahead and start on my ham steaks. In this pan right here, I added about 2 tablespoons of olive oil, and we are using this 2-pack of ham steaks. I let that olive oil heat up, and the ham steak is basically just going to warm through and get some really nice color on both sides. Using that same pan, because it already has good flavor in it from the ham, I am going to go ahead and cook up 8 eggs. Each one will have a little bit of salt and pepper added to it. I am going to break the yolk and just cook those thoroughly in my pan. I got smarter and ended up using my little egg molds, which helped tremendously. And then once those were all done, I just kind of sat them aside until everything else was all ready to go. Here are my biscuits after coming out of the oven. I did go ahead and slice each one in half, that way I could start adding in the other ingredients. First I added on the egg. I did go ahead and cut both of those ham steaks into 4 pieces, that way I would have enough for all 8 sandwiches. On top of the ham, you're going to add 1 slice of cheese. I just used some mild cheddar. And I was short 1 piece of mild cheddar, so I just used some pepper jack on one of those sandwiches, as you can see. And once these were all filled up and ready to go, I stuck them in my oven for 5 minutes just to melt the cheese. This is a super quick and easy breakfast for dinner idea, and I was actually going to serve some watermelon with this, but it was bad, so I ended up just serving some strawberries. Super simple, easy dinner, and more filling than you think. Thanks so much for watching today. I hope you got some great ideas out of this video. Make sure to leave me a flower down in the comments if you made it all the way to the end, and I will see you back here on Sunday. Bye guys.